Okay, so this is a training part, which is part three. Uh, I'm assuming you have familiarized yourself with part one and part two, which is learning some basics. Before you even start doing this part three, you need to understand some basics. So we just jump to part three, which is you have a customer has downloaded uh, two payroll reports from their payroll system. One would be an employee census report, and data we are really looking for is the employee name, their identification ID, their hire date, their termination date, and whether they're salaried or hourly classification. Not all payroll vendors provide this information. Most payroll vendors do provide the other fields. This last one, some do, some don't. Uh, Anyway, so we are looking for payroll report, which is 2019 to present, and the data could be coming from any one of these four formats, payroll providers in their format. And our objective is once you get this data, we have to create several pivot tables. Basically, I'm going to show you one or two examples, not all of them, but you will get the idea of the amount of effort and what data we are collecting. So this is a payroll report that actually this in this example, this company had one vendor in 2020 for payroll software provider and a different vendor for 2019. So we have already merged the two into one. So if I go to the end of this thing, so if you notice the data format changes, the reason being up until here was a standard report that came from ADP. And in 2019, this company used a different provider for 2019. So we took the 2019 data, we standardized the names, and we just pasted the four fields that we need. The other report may have included some other information. We don't care about the other information. What we really care about is these four fields. And what are these four fields? Is basically what is the date. In this example, Wayne is the name of the employee. He got paid on January 3rd, 2020 for working 80 hours, and the employer paid him $2,080. We don't care about how much taxes was withheld, how much deductions, what was the net paycheck, direct deposit, etc., etc. We just care about these four columns. Okay, so now that we have these four columns, we are going to create many different pivot tables. So let me start with the first one, which is employee list. How do we make an employee list? Insert, pivot table. Okay, I will do this name. There you go. These are all my employees in that have ever worked for this company from 1/1/2019 to present. Now keep in mind, so if you look down here where my mouse is moving, there are 30 employees, but not all 30 are working today. So some people started in 2019, were terminated in 2019, and some started in 2020. But regardless, these were the 30 all different employees that have worked for this employer during this period. So I'm just going to give this pivot table name February 15th, for example. Okay, so now by the way, where are we going with all of this? We're going to create many different pivot tables and we're going to try to fill up this data. We need the last four digits. We need, we don't care about, the name is not that important. What we do need is uh, when did this person when was he hired? If he's no longer working, when was his last date? Is this person classified as a salaried or hourly? Does this person receive 2019 wages in any period that exceeded 100K? So keep in mind, the person could have worked only 6 months in 2019, and in 6 months, if they received 51,000, the answer would be yes, because they were working on an annualized basis of 100K. So what is their current hourly rate? So if a person is salaried, how do you calculate their hourly rate? You assume a salaried person works 40 hours per week. If the person gets $100,000 salary per year, you divide $100,000 divided by 52 weeks to find their weekly amount, and then divide the weekly amount by 40 hours. And that's how you calculate their hourly rate. So anyway, this is all the data we're trying to capture. In order to do this forgiveness application by hand without a system, a human being or a customer will be expected to do all of these things. So I'm going to show you another thing the customer is expected to do. Oh, by the way, that was not February 15th, that was employee list. Next thing we are going to create a pivot table for is February 15th payroll. The one pay period, which includes February 15th, who were employed by the customer and how much did that employee get paid. How do we create that pivot table? We come here, pivot table. Okay. I'm going to make a filter on this check date field. I'm going to do this name. In this case, I need their hours and total paid also. In this, Excel automatically starts sum of hours, sum of total, which is good. That's exactly how we want it. We just need only for February 15th. So February 15th of 2020. So I'm going to collect that. So the pay date when the employer ran the payroll on 228 pay date covered the 215 payroll. If I cannot select a 214 because 214 means 215 has not happened yet. So I'm picking either 215 or any date, first date after that. So in this case, this is the example. So this is my pivot table for February 15th. Let me create one more, slightly more complex. So there are two different reference look back periods. One is 215 to 630. By the way, this is supposed to be 19. And January 1 to 229, 2020. So let me create a pivot table for 2020 look back reference period. What does it look like? So I go back there. Go to my payroll, insert, pivot. Okay. Same routine I'm going to do. Actually, let me show you an easier, better way. I'm going to actually delete this. I'm going to take the February 15th. I'm going to copy. I can't find copy. Oh, copy right there. I'm going to copy. And I'm going to call it look back 2020. So this, I made a copy of February 15th. I called it that. But now, only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, so look back 2020 is 1/1/20 to 2/29/20. So I'm going to just modify this part by doing this. That's it. This covers 1/1/2020 to 2/29/2020. If I do this, boom. So now I've created a pivot for 2020. Same way, I will keep going and I will create many different, I will create a look back for 2019, this date range. I will create one for Q1, which is this date range, safe harbor, this date range, forgiveness period, whether it's 8 or 24. How do we know the forgiveness period? Basically, we know the loan date. We know, okay, so if the loan date is X, and then if the person is using 8 weeks, you do the date. I'm going to use an example. So if the loan date was 2020, I'm going to say P13 plus, it's 8 weeks, 7 days a week, is equal to 611. So that would be the forgiveness period if you were doing a spreadsheet for forgiveness period. Having said that, I don't want to spend the time to do all of these because I've already done it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is the final report, what it looks like.